reckoning for a party hoping to stay in control in November. At the same time, can Democrats use this to their advantage to try to stall Brett Kavanaugh's nomination for the United States Supreme Court? Let's go to our congressional correspondent, Phil Mattingly. He's up on Capitol Hill. So what are you hearing from both sides, Phil?
Yeah, Wolf, as you would expect, Republicans not exactly rushing out to talk about this, and those who are certainly not willing to do so in a critical way. You just look at where Republican leaders are. I ran into Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell earlier today. He chose not to respond when I asked him about this. Speaker Paul Ryan said they need more information. John Cornyn, the number 2 Republican in the Senate, said that while things were serious, this had nothing to do with Russia. Take a listen also to what Senator Orrin Hatch had to say, basically saying that, yeah, there are issues here, but we're not really sure what else we can do. Take a listen.
Well, it's a serious charges, and they can't be ignored.
Do you think it's high crimes and misdemeanors?
I wouldn't go that far.
Do you think this opens up the president to being indicted while sitting in office? It's never been done.
No, I don't, because I don't think he can be indicted while sitting in office. But we'll just have to see where this all works out.
Wolf, it's somewhat of a familiar refrain up here where something happens at the White House. Some Republicans have concerns, others don't want to weigh in on it at all. I can tell you behind the scenes, aides I've talked to make very clear they know how serious this is. They just aren't really sure what their bosses should do about it. Now, on the Democratic side, you've seen Democrats led by Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer coalesce around a single strategy. Take a listen.
The president, identified as an unindicted co-conspirator of a federal crime, an accusation made not by a political enemy but by the closest of his own confidants, is on the verge of making a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court, a court that may someday soon determine the extent of the president's legal jeopardy. In my view, the Senate Judiciary Committee should immediately pause the consideration of the Kavanaugh nomination.
Wolf, Senator Schumer referring to Brett Kavanaugh, the president's Supreme Court nomination pick. His first scheduled hearing is supposed to happen September 4th. And what you've heard from Democrat after Democrat after Democrat this morning is not impeachment. In fact, many of them don't want to touch the issue at all. It's all about that nomination, saying that as long as this is an issue that's hanging out there, those hearings should be postponed. Senator Mazie Hirono, a member of the Judiciary Committee, said she has canceled her one-on-one meeting with Brett Kavanaugh. Wolf, you know this well. The reality is Republicans control the chamber. Republicans have the votes if they are unanimous to actually move this nomination through. But right now, Democrats hoping this issue helps their push, not just to block the nomination on the floor, but to pause the hearings altogether, Wolf.
And I'll be speaking live with Senator Hirono later this hour, so we'll hear what she has to say. Phil Mattingly up on Capitol Hill. Thanks very much. Michael Cohen is willing to testify before Congress about President Trump and willing to testify without immunity. That, according to his lawyer, Lanny Davis. Davis also says Cohen has information of interest to the special counsel, Robert Mueller. In interviews with CNN, Davis expanded on what Cohen has to offer and why Cohen turned on the man he once said he'd take a bullet for.
His patriotism and love of country caused him to recognize the danger of this particular president, his lack of suitability to be president of the United States. It's my observation that Mr. Cohen has knowledge that would be of interest to this special counsel about the issue of whether Donald Trump ahead of time knew about the hacking of emails, which is a computer crime that was the subject of the indictment of the 12 Russians.
All right, let's discuss this and more with our experts. CNN political analyst Molly Ball is with us. CNN legal analyst Ross Garber and Carrie Cordero are with us as well. Carrie, do you think Michael Cohen has enough information that would be worthwhile to Robert Mueller, the special prosecutor, the special counsel, to go ahead and bring him in for questioning and maybe work out some sort of deal with him?
Well, that's the big question. What information of value does Michael Cohen have? I've tended to think over the last few weeks, as his public messaging continued to go along these same lines as Lanny Davis just said, that Michael Cohen has information to tell. I've tended to think that if he really had information that the investigators needed, that they would have already been talking to him, and so I'm inclined to think that the investigators may not need Michael Cohen as much as Michael Cohen needs a deal to lessen his jail time sentence when he comes up for sentencing.
He could get 5 years in December. That's when he's scheduled to be sentenced.
According to his current plea, he could get 5 years, and so I think that it's in his interest, and that's why we're seeing his lawyer out front arguing that he has information of value. But all this time, the special counsel investigators could have been talking to Michael Cohen, and if they haven't, then I'm inclined to think that maybe they don't need him as much as he might need them.
Very interesting, Ross. The president, you saw those tweets that he posted this morning. He says Paul Manafort, now a convicted felon, stealing millions of dollars from American taxpayers in these various schemes he was up with. He calls him a brave man who refused to break and make up stories to get a deal, and he contrasts that with Michael Cohen. So you think the president is setting the stage for a pardon for Paul Manafort?
It seems hard to read it otherwise. That's the message. The message is hang in there, buddy, hang tough, it's going to be okay. And to me, the extraordinary thing is that it was communicated in public over Twitter. You can